my name is Ananya Parlapali and I'm currently a D1 at the University of Michigan School of Dentistry. Thank you so much to the FutureDDS team for having me on this series, and let's get started. So to tell you guys a little bit about myself, I'm originally from New York and I grew up there all my life, and I went to Case Western Reserve University for undergrad, which is in Cleveland, Ohio, if any of you haven't heard of it. And then I ended up at the University of Michigan for dental school. So I did not take a gap year. I went straight through. So I graduated in May of 2021 and started dental school in June of 2021. I majored in psychology and I minored in Spanish and chemistry, and I was involved in a lot of different extracurriculars. I was involved in different things. I've always been passionate about dance. I was involved in dance-related extracurriculars. I was involved in research, volunteering, and honestly just like a large, diverse variety of things. But I definitely think that those were what had the largest impact on me wanting to attend dental school, because I've always been a person who's loved to draw and dance and be creative. And I think that's why dentistry is the perfect fit for me. So let's talk a little bit about why I chose dentistry. I think there's so many reasons that I chose dentistry, but there are a few that definitely stand out. And for my personal journey, I started off as a pre-medical student, and during my sophomore year is when I decided that I wanted to transition from pre-med to pre-dent. And this is mainly because I realized that I love the part of medicine that incorporates working with patients and being able to be that person for my patients or have that impact on other people. But I think there was a part of medicine that was missing for me that dentistry has, which is the hands-on aspect and being able to just work with my hands every day. And now as a D1, I definitely see it coming to life, because compared to all my science classes, I would say my favorite class is going to sim lab. I could be in there for hours working on one prep or one restoration, and it'll take me a while, but it's just I don't feel the time just fly by, because I enjoy it and I really like being able to work with my hands and kind of hone in these skills that I've never done before. So for me, dentistry, I think, was a perfect match, because I've always been super creative and artistic, and I love that aspect of being able to merge the sciences with being hands-on. As well as on top of that, there's just so many other reasons, the opportunity to own my own practice in the future. So there's a lot of reasons, but I'm sure you've heard these many times, but personally, those are what spoke to me as well. So to talk about my DAT journey, it was definitely a long and kind of crazy journey, because I was coming out of my sophomore year of undergrad. I had just finished, and I had a really difficult semester. So I struggled academically. I was struggling just in a lot of other ways with dealing with a lot of things that were going on. So because I had that kind of struggle academically, I told myself that I wanted to study really hard for the DAT, and it was a way for me to prove to myself. So the way I went about it is I used DAT Bootcamp, which I think is honestly one of the greatest resources out there for studying for the DAT. I will recommend it probably forever. It was amazing. And as you may know, DAT Bootcamp has a schedule that they provide you. So for me personally, the schedule was a little bit too fast, and I wanted to shape it to match my study style and my speed of studying, because I didn't want to, just try to stick to the schedule and then not be able to keep up or not be able to even retain the information I was trying to learn. So I actually sat down and took the DAT Bootcamp schedule and then made my own schedule along with it. And so I went into Excel, I had every day mapped out, and I had every subject that I was going to do for that day. So I had for 3 months, I started studying in May, and then I took my DAT in August. So for those months, I had everything mapped out every single day, when I was going to practice and what I was going to do. And I think it helped me so much to have a set, plan, so that I didn't waste time oh, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. I just had something that was already there and something that I wanted to stick to. On top of that, I also used DAT Destroyer, which is the book of the math, science questions, and I think there's some other questions. Oh, it's Gen Chem, OChem, and biology. And I went through the math multiple times, and it helped me so much to achieve a really great score in the math section, and also for the sciences, because I know that biology can kind of be a super large, I don't even know, like a super large topic with so much content. It kind of feels overwhelming, but that just helped me because there were such random questions. It kind of gave me exposure on top of DAT bootcamp to different types of questions that I might, encounter on the exam. So I definitely recommend both of those in conjunction if you want to kind of take your score to the next level. In terms of what I think set me apart, I don't really know how to answer this question all the time because I'm not really sure, but I think it was my own story and my journey. And I think that's what everybody has going for themselves, is that your story is unique. So like, you don't have to feel like you should fit somebody else's mold, you shouldn't feel like, oh, I have to do X amount of volunteer hours because this other person I know that goes to X dental school got in, I think that for me, it wasn't about like having the highest grades or the highest DAT score. It was mostly about making sure that my passion for dentistry was shown through my application, and also like who I am as a person was shown through my application. So those are two things that I definitely focused on wanting to portray to the admissions committee. And I would guess that that's what set me apart the most, because I wanted everything in my application to kind of like come together. Like I did these, I participated in this club, or I volunteered here, but like everything kind of came full circle because these are my interests, And then on top of that, I didn't attend any of the networking events that are usually like put on by dental schools. However, I definitely think it's a great idea if you have a dental school near you or a dental school that you're super interested in to, kind of get your foot in the door, meet dental students that already go there, and also just familiarize yourself. Like, what does that sim lab look like? And maybe they'll show you what the school looks like, and just kind of get like a look inside of what it's like to go to dental school there. So I definitely think that it's a great idea if you have the opportunity to. The interview process at Michigan, it's a 2-day process, and I think it might have been different for me compared to other people from previous years because everything was online. But the first day was the day that we did the MMI style questions, where we had to answer the questions that were prompted to us, and it was basically all done online, so we were just being recorded, and you had like a couple minutes to read the prompt and then a couple minutes to respond your thoughts on the prompt. And then the second day was more of like a Q&A session. We had a lot of speakers. I think it was multiple deans from the dental school, and then also a panel of dental students at the school that you could ask questions to. And I really enjoyed the second day, like the Q&A session, because I know usually Q&A sessions, they like take a long time, but I really liked the ability to kind of hear from different deans at the school and also hear from different students and just kind of get an idea of what Michigan was like, because I had never been there before. But overall, although the MMI, setting seems kind of daunting at first, it wasn't too bad, and especially being online, I think it was very different from being in person. And also the Q&A session was definitely very normal. It felt like every other school interview. So I have 2 main tips for the interview process, and I feel like this applies to basically every school, but the first one is to use Student Doctor Network, and they have a really great resource where people who have interviewed at schools previously will write down types of questions that they had, and it kind of has created like a huge question bank. So I would say go through those those questions and kind of practice what you would say. I wouldn't say memorize everything that you want to say. I think it's better if it kind of happens in a more like organic way, but it's definitely super helpful. And then my second tip is to make a Google Doc where you kind of write out answers to like all the generic questions that you may have seen somewhere or heard, or even the ones that are on the SDN page, because I think this helped me like organize my thoughts a little bit more. And it was like the first thing that I did when I was trying to come up with answers to interview questions, and just kind of going on the doc, writing down, oh, like I'm from here, or like, just answers to generic questions kind of helps you set everything up in your mind of how you would answer it if you were being asked during an actual interview. And then also on top of that, practice. Like I would say practice with your friends, practice with anybody if you have like a opportunity to practice at the school, like an interview counseling thing, and then also practice with your family. And I think it just helps make everything sound smoother when you're answering the question. Practice definitely helps you get more comfortable with answering questions about yourself, because I know it's not always easy talking about yourself. I applied to a lot of dental schools, honestly, just because I was unsure of what where I was going to get in, and I just kind of wanted to be sure that if I were to apply this cycle, then, you know, just do it once and kind of get it over with. So I applied to a lot of schools, and I also interviewed at a bunch of schools. I think it was around 6 schools, and I always knew that the University of Michigan kind of stood out to me because of the opportunities that they have, and I saw that more during the interview process as well. The University of Michigan is known for being a really great research school, and that was something that I didn't know if I wanted to pursue fully, or, you know, like how I wanted to kind of go about doing research, but it's just something that I knew that if I wanted to, the option was there for me. And the same thing is just kind of like the sense of community and the people here. I knew that it just seemed like a really great school where they want you to succeed, and I knew that if I were to go here, there's like a lot of ways for me to kind of follow any of the passions that I may have, and also just kind of succeed and grow as a dentist. And on top of that, based off of the options that I had when I was choosing dental schools, Michigan not only stood out in those ways, but it was also, on top of that, the cheaper option. So it kind of seemed like the best option for me. And I think that for every person, there's different reasons why they choose dental schools, whether it's just price or, you know, what they're looking for, the location, everything like that. But for me, I think that all of those things aligned with Michigan, and that's why it was the perfect choice for me. So my transition from being a pre-dent to being in dental school was honestly not too bad. And I will say that my senior year, I had what you would probably call a pretty chill senior year, because I had finished like most of the major classes that I needed to take, and I wouldn't say it was super rigorous. But the cool thing about Michigan is that they have summer semesters. So our first summer semester, we started in June, and they kind of just like ease you into what dental school is like, kind of like the course load, the rigor of everything. And it's more like undergrad in the sense of the number of classes you have. It was probably like 5 or 6 classes, but you're kind of just slowly adapting to it. And then the fall semester gets more hectic, and now currently I'm in the winter semester. It's definitely the most hectic I've ever been, and it's definitely also a change and something that I'm still adapting to, but I definitely think it's super doable. It's hard, but you kind of just see yourself growing, and it's really cool to see how far you've come, or like I've come in a year, just starting off dental school until now, how much time I've put in, just like learning or like working on my skills in SimLab, as well as like how I'm handling the amount of content we're learning in all of our science classes. So I think that it's definitely a transition, but it's not the worst thing. Like you will adapt eventually. So a typical day in the first year of dental school, it definitely varies because I don't have the same schedule every day. But I will say that I've recently, since this semester began in early January, have been trying out a new schedule for myself where I wake up every morning around 5:30 and go to the gym around 6, because I will say I've always been a night person, but I just wanted to see what it was like to kind of wake up early, get my workout done in the morning, and just try to be as productive as I could in the morning without waiting till like the sun would set. So I would say that my day, typically I go to the gym around 6, and then I have class. My first class usually starts around 8. We don't have class at 8 every single day, but I would say most days we have class at 8, and I'm just looking at my calendar right now. And so we are not fully in person yet, so we have some classes that are asynchronous and some classes that are synchronous on Zoom. And I know that earlier in the semester we had some classes that we had optional lectures in person. However, we have SimLab in person, so I have SimLab on Tuesdays and Fridays from 2 to 5 p.m. And then at least once or twice a week we either have assisting, we're in SimLab learning how to do perio, or we're doing other activities, whether it's cardiology or something else. So probably I would say I'm in the dental school around 3 times a week, but at least minimum 2 times a week for SimLab, 3 hours each of those sessions. So that's basically what it looks like. I'd say most of the day is packed with catching up on lectures, because you kind of have, so like my Monday looks like I have pharmacology, I have behavioral sciences, then I have nervous system and musculoskeletal, so that's from 8 to noon, and then I have genetics at 1 p.m. So those are all like pretty heavy science classes, and I'm spending most of my day catching up, watching lectures, and making sure I'm kind of ready for the next class. We also have a lot of quizzes and assignments, so I like to just kind of make sure that I have my planner out and I kind of just plan out for the week and look at everything I need to do and kind of work backwards with what classes I have that day. So hopefully that's helpful. I think right now I would say what makes me most excited about going to the University of Michigan is my friends, and it's just been so fun being able to meet so many different types of people that all kind of have like the same goal in mind. And it's also nice that we do a lot of our didactic classes online, because I think it makes going to SimLab even more special, just kind of seeing this whole group of people that's like working towards the same goal as you, and we all kind of go through our like struggles together, and also just like the exciting parts of our days together, or like in SimLab if you do well in a prep or something like that, you know. But it's been really great meeting my classmates and just kind of like learning the ropes of like what it's like to go to dental school. I would still say that I'm still trying to figure things out, but it's been cool being able to join clubs and get involved and do some volunteering and also meet classmates. So it's definitely been a really great experience so far. All right, to finish off the interview, I would say that my biggest piece of advice to any pre-dent out there is to just believe in yourself. And this is something that I think helped me a lot during my process, because it was knowing that my story is different and just believing that my passion for dentistry would shine through my application. So honestly, believe in yourself. No matter what anybody else tells you, don't listen to them. You know what you're capable of and you know what you've accomplished. So, don't let anybody tell you differently. And on top of that, if you have any questions or want to talk to me about dental school or applying to dental school, feel free to contact me. My email is ananyasp@umich.edu. It's ANANYASP@umich.edu. I also have a dental Instagram, which is AP_dental diaries. And I don't know if this will be put in the video somewhere, but feel free to DM me on Instagram. Feel free to email me. I love helping out pre-dents. I love talking to everyone. So definitely feel free to contact me. And thank you so much again for having me for this episode.